Right. For a very long time now, I've known that Piers Morgan is an absolute waste man of a human being and should absolutely be extradited from planet Earth. However, recently, I've seen videos of him backing the Palestinian people, specifically that interview that he done with the Israeli ambassador on his Uncensored channel. Now, after seeing that, and to be honest with you, if you haven't seen that interview, I wouldn't even bother watching it, because if you're a human being with a heart, it would make your blood boil how that woman can sit there and defend Israel's disgusting, discriminatory, vile actions towards the Palestinian civilians. Anyway, I thought perhaps Piers Morgan deserves the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's not entirely wrapped around Israel's finger. Boy, was I wrong. Today I was just getting about my day and I came across this video.
The murder, the kidnapping of babies and Holocaust. This is one of the things I kept asking all the Palestinian guests, which is probably why you had a view that somehow I was against the Palestinian people. I wasn't.
No one had the view because he was questioning what Hamas did. People had the view that they had because this man simply refused to acknowledge the fact that what Israel was doing in Gaza as response to what happened on October the 7th was completely disproportionate and unreasonable and was in fact genocide. It's like this man's crap comes out his backside every time he's about to call it a genocide. He's so scared of calling it for what it is. And this is why people had the view on this man that they had. It wasn't because he was questioning what happened on October the 7th. As a Muslim man, right, I do not agree with what happened on October the 7th. Right, you shouldn't go there and kill children and babies and do this and do that. However, I get where the Palestinian people were coming from. Why do I say that? Because it's like this, yeah? You're living in your house right now. If someone broke into your house, killed all of your family and told you get the flip out, what would you do in that situation? And that is exactly what happened in 1948 when the Israelis were taken in with open arms by the Palestinian people beforehand, and then they took over the flipping country. They took over the land of the Palestinian people. The root of all of this is not the Palestinian people's fault. The root of all of this is genuinely Israel's fault. And the Western media, which has normalized whatever the hell that Israel has going on over there. And it's not normal. Because had that happened to the United Kingdom or the USA or any other Western country, they would have all gone to war together and absolutely tarnished that country. So I don't understand where this man's coming from, to be honest.
But I was certainly against anyone that wouldn't absolutely, unreservedly condemn what Hamas did that day. That had to be a starting point for any constructive conversation.
Okay, so you've said that for a long, long time. We have been talking about that for 20
But why would that be wrong?
Months. It's not wrong to feel angry about what happened. I wholeheartedly stand against harming civilians. All of my work, all of my life, all of my principles is against harming any civilians, whoever they are. I'm against all of that. But my problem, Piers, is that I have looked a lot for you. And then for the past 20 months, you have been repeating this over and over and over and over again, as if October the 7th was the beginning of everything. And you never looked at what happened before October the 7th and what happened 20 months after October the 7th.
The thing is, Ahmed, I never took a view that anything that happened on either side before October the 7th could possibly justify what Hamas did that day.
What's happening in Gaza right now is justified, is it? You guys have to remember, he might be turning around and saying, yeah, now it's not justified, this and that. Up until 2 months ago, when he had his interview with Mohammed Hijab, literally 2 months ago, this man was still literally backing Israel to the maximum. And so whatever he turns around and says now, oh, it's not justified, this, that, it's a disproportionate response, whatever, he's only been saying that recently. For the whole first year and nearly 2 years of this war, this man has been siding with Israel. So the fact he can come out here and lie straight to everyone is insane to me.
There's no justification for that scale of terrorist attack. None. Nada. Nothing.
Knocked this man out so badly, honestly.
So I wasn't prepared to
P.S. I don't condone violence.
countenance anyone sitting on that chair or in any other location I was in, who if I said to them, do you condemn what Hamas did? If they refused to answer, then I would challenge them angrily about that, as I would do the other way round, as I am now about what Israel's been doing. So I campaigned against the Iraq war, right? When I was editor of the Daily Mirror, I campaign against things I think are wrong. And I will challenge and harangue people when I think they're supporting things that are wrong. So I'm just curious, though, why...
And who even knows what his agenda is behind supporting the Palestinian people now? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's been told to do this.
You've made it so personal against me. Do you blame me for the loss of your loved ones? I didn't understand that.
Okay. So everyone appreciates that you stood up against the war in Iraq. We also wanted you to stand up against the genocide that is taking place in Gaza. And you know, you changed your talks recently, and that's I appreciate that. I love that. But please remember that, Piers, bad journalism kills. Bad journalism kills people. You know that Israel could not carry out a genocide in Gaza without the justification of the mainstream media. And unfortunately, I don't blame you specifically for the murder of my family.
Well, you did.
I blame all of the mainstream media on the murder of my family, and you were one of them. Unfortunately,
well, you blame me personally.
I blame you personally as one of the
What an absolute victim of a man.
mainstream media who justified the murder of the Palestinians and dehumanized the Palestinians.
I never justified the murder of Palestinians. I only said...
Not directly, indirectly.
I only said that I believed Israel had a fundamental right and duty to defend its people after that appalling attack.
It only took him a year and flipping 8 months to realise that the response was completely disproportionate, even though it was completely, very apparently disproportionate within the first month.
A series of attacks, particularly as Hamas, through its official spokesman on camera, had said they were prepared and wanted to do this again and again and again.
Well, the thing is,
you talk about genocide,
yeah.
That is genocide. That is actually what genocide is. When you want to kill as many Jews as you can kill.
That's the problem here.
Yeah, but that is genocide.
No, that is the problem. You always say that they want to kill the Jews.
Watch this bit carefully.
They do.
That is dangerous. You and I know that.
But they do.
Our problem is not against the Jews.
They don't make any secret of it.
No. Our problem is not with the Jews. And even Hamas' problem is not with the Jews. It is with the Israelis.
Why do they kill so many Jews then?
They did not kill Jews. They killed Israelis. And I don't justify killing of Israel. It's not that I want them to kill Israelis.
What religion do you suspect most of the Israelis were?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it makes a huge difference. They were not attacked because they were Jews. They were attacked because they were Israelis. It's a huge difference.
How many of the people who were killed were not Jewish?
It doesn't matter.
This man's basically just trying to say the Palestinian people have never had a problem with Jews. They wouldn't just go out, fly out random places of the world and kill Jews. They had a problem with the Israelis who came in and settled in their land and took over and kicked them out and slaughtered their families and whatnot. They had a problem with those specific set of people who came and settled in the land which is now known today as Israel. I understand that. I'm not an intellect in any way. This man, Piers Morgan, pretends like he's an intellect. He's got a show called Uncensored where he talks with other intellects. And he fails to understand this. This is because he has an agenda to push.
Matter, but would you like?
Of course it matters.
No, it matters. Let me ask you a question. So many Palestinians were killed. Thousands of Palestinians were killed. Would you call Israel killed the Muslims in Gaza? You would say the Palestinians. And the Israelis were Israelis. They were not there as Jews. They were there as Israelis. And that is dangerous, Piers. It's not a religious war. This is a war between colonization and colonized, occupiers and occupied. People who have been living under blockade, under siege, under occupation for the past 77 years. It's not with the Jews. We never had a problem with the Jews. We love the Jews as much as we love the Christians.
But you have a problem with Israelis?
Of course, we have a problem with the Israelis as occupiers.
How can you say you have no problem with the Jews, but you have a problem with the Israelis?
Did you see that look on his face then? What an absolute waste, man.
Given that most Israelis are Jewish.
I'm just astonished that you can't make the difference between the Jews and the
As are
Israelis.
we, mate.
Why? Huge difference.
Most of them are Jewish.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes, but they're called Israelis.
So you know what? Next time he turns around and says, this many Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, or Israel's done this to the Palestinian people. I want this man to turn around and say, yep, Israel has killed the Muslims, or this many Muslims have died. He'll never do that because he's got an agenda to push. And I keep coming back to that point because I don't want anyone out there being fooled by this man's famoose, because I see straight through him. I see straight through this lying, conniving man. And I'll be honest with you, I feel for the Palestinian people, but I've got nothing against Jews. If I walked around right now and I seen a Jew who was alright, I wouldn't say anything to him. I'd I'd be blessed with my man, you get me, just as I would with an Indian or a flipping Christian or any ethnicity or religion. I don't care. I care about the people who are in Palestine right now, starving, literally committing genocide on the Palestinian civilians. I don't even care about Hamas like that. Like, to be honest with you, they bought what they bought upon themselves. But that doesn't justify the killing of innocent lives in Palestine. Good people, normal people, who before the October the 7th were living a normal life. And now, they can't even imagine what a normal life could begin to feel like. Does that not make your heart hurt as human beings? Honestly.
Astonished you would try and draw a distinction.
There's a huge difference.
Hamas don't give a damn about whether they're Israelis or anything else. They care about killing Jews. They made it no secret.
No, listen. I am the last person on earth to defend Hamas.
Good.
But just because I don't like Hamas, that does not make me like amplify and exaggerate in their in what they think and lie about them. Do you know Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas? Do you know him?
Not personally.
No, he was the founder of Hamas, and he was known as handicap who Israel killed. But anyway, he was once asked, what is your problem with the Jews? And he said it clearly, and I'm quoting him, I don't have a problem with the Jews. If my brother, if my cousin occupied my country and killed me, I would have a problem with them. The problem with the Palestinians is against Zionism, against Zionists, against Israelis.
So why don't they kill innocent Israeli people then? Innocent women, children,
Why are the Israelis killing innocent Palestinian people? Or sorry, innocent Muslims in Palestine? Why, Piers? Waste, man.
Ask me the question.
Why do
Ask
they
them.
kidnap babies? Why do they
Ask
kidnap
them.
Holocaust survivors?
Ask them. Don't ask me. I'm not one of them.
You're trying to explain their ideology, and I'm telling you, they are an
No, but
No, he's just calling you out on your blatant lies. That's what he's doing.
undisguised death cult.
it all makes difference.
Intent on killing
it's
as many Jews
dangerous.
as they can kill.
It's dangerous when you make this religious war.
It's dangerous
Piers.
when you try and pretend they're not after killing Jews.
Of course not. They're not, Piers. Come on.
Are you seeing
They're
the
after
agenda?
killing-
Come on. You don't think
Please.
Hamas target Jews
Of course
because
not.
they're Jewish?
Of course not.
It's nonsense.
No, it's
Ahmed.
not. I'm surprised that you're saying this, Piers. Genuinely, I'm surprised. There's a huge difference.
You're surprised that I think Hamas target Jewish people?
Of course.
This
Of
guy's
course
got
I
an
am.
agenda
I
to
find that
push.
staggering, I think.
Why?
Because it's obviously a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because obviously they target
I
and
rate
murder
Ahmed, mate.
as many Jewish people as they can get their hands on.
Of course not.
And you say it's because they're Israelis, not Jewish.
Because they're occupiers. Because they occupied our country.
And
do
they're
that.
Jewish.
No, just because they occupied our country.
He's literally trying to push that into the conversation. But they're Jewish, shut up, bro. Give you a slap, fam.
Because they're colonizers. Because they came to our country, kicked us out in 1948, and they killed thousands of Palestinians, including my grandparents. They
You
were
know
killed.
why Israel was set up. It was set up after World War II, in which Jewish people were the victims of an appalling.
The original Palestinian people, after the Holocaust, took the Jewish people in with open arms, right? And the Jewish people turned around and snaked everyone and decided to occupy the land instead. Rather than being grateful and thanking the Palestinian people, they decided to extradite them and take over their land. What ungrateful people they were.
Holocaust by Hitler and the Nazis, where 6 million of them were exterminated purely because of their ethnicity and
That's correct.
being Jewish.
That's
So
correct.
the Jewish people were given the state of Israel.
My country.
Well, okay, I understand.
land.
Listen, I understand that argument. I understand the whole history and the whole
It is the
argument.
whole- it's
but the
all of the
idea,
story starts
but it
from
wasn't
here.
Israelis given that place. It was the Jewish people.
Yeah, but who are you to give the Jewish people my country?
I'm
As I
not
said,
giving it to them.
I'm not talking about you personally.
Yeah.
I'm talking about those who send the Zionists to come and kill our families and take our lands. We have a problem with the occupiers, Piers. We don't have a problem with the Jews.
I understand
Actually,
it's
I work with the Jews. Like, we are not numbers. The mentor coordinator is Jewish. The
Tell me,
chair is
look,
Jewish.
So, to be honest with you, after watching that, if any of you still agree with anything that Piers Morgan has to say or believe a word that comes out of his lying mouth, then to be honest with you, I don't know for you, man, because this is clear as day for me. This man's point was clear as day for me. That look, we don't have a problem with the Jews. We don't have a problem with the religion of the Jewish people. What we have a problem with is the occupiers and the settlers who came into Palestine, right, regardless of their religion, and took over the land, that was rightfully the Palestinian people's land. And Piers Morgan's point was also evident to me, that he's got an agenda to push, that he needs to somehow make everyone believe that it's the Jews being targeted, which is why you see everyone around right now on social media talking about anti-Semitism. Yeah? Like, bro, get a life, man. Piers Morgan, if you're watching this, honestly, get me on Uncensored and have a conversation with me, because I will tarnish you. I will give you no mercy. I will show you no mercy. By Allah, you are a lying man and you've got an agenda to push.